Hello and a very warm welcome to the great Indian football dream. I'm Meha Bharadwaj and today we have embarked on a special journey. News9 is on a quest to not only unearth raw footballing talent in the country, but also nurture their potential and help them realize their dreams. We're calling all young champions to come and showcase their skills and get a chance to train in Germany and Austria. That's not all. You also get to play friendlies against European clubs and meet with legendary football players. With this, we also want to start a series of conversations on the beautiful game. How can India become a top footballing nation? What are some of the biggest issues inflicting world football? What has contributed to Germany's footballing success? And much more. Without further ado, let me introduce a very special guest, Kai Damhorst. He's the senior head of media rights, German Football Association. Welcome to the show, Kai.
Thank you for having me, Meha.
So, is this your second visit to Delhi? You were just telling me. How's been the stay so far?
Yes, my second visit. The first visit was around 10 years ago when I used to work with the Bundesliga. And it's great to be back. It's a wonderful experience. Previously, I was in Mumbai for 2 days. It's very bubbly, energetic experience to be here. It's wonderful.
Now, Kai is here for our News9 campaign, Indian Tigers and Tigresses, a hunt to find India's footballing prodigies under the age of 14. So before I ask him about the event, let's get you the details of this campaign. News9 is organizing Indian Tigers and Tigresses, the hunt for India's best footballing talent under the age of 14. This is a campaign that seeks to unearth footballing talent, both boys and girls from all parts of the country. The initiative was launched today in a grand ceremony with around 1,200 school kids participating in this event. There were representatives from the German Football Association, the Bundesliga, BVP, Borussia Dortmund, Indian Football Center in Europe, and these representatives interacted with the kids. The registration for this hunt will open in April, and European football scouts will assess the entries. The selected kids will be called to the scouting venues across India by the end of June. Top 200 contenders will make it to the football training camp, and 20 Tigers and Tigresses will be selected from the camp to go to train in Austria and Germany. They will also play some friendly matches with European clubs and meet football legends in August. It's News9's way of trying to foster a deep-rooted connection with the beautiful game. And let me get back to Kai there, who was present at the event. Tell me what that was like, because you would have seen a lot of enthusiastic kids, but that's not enough. You need much more to make sure that the sport grows in a country.
Absolutely. The event was breathtaking. We walked into this room, music, energy. We felt like maybe boxers going to the ring, cheering crowd.
Yeah.
You could really feel the enthusiasm. And, Germany football is really the religion, the #1 sports by far. Like in India, cricket, but football seems to be growing a lot. And it means a lot. And we're very excited to be part of this initiative, of this campaign, Indian Tigers and Tigresses, and also just help promote football in India.
Yeah. I've got to talk to you a little bit about the experience of being at that event. Now, why I want to talk about this is that, number one, there were a lot of enthusiastic kids, as I said, right? These kids are genuine football lovers. So you know that the youth of this country is interested in football. They're also consuming football differently now, with different streaming platforms. So they get that chance to watch the best in action. But then comes the whole point of where is the infrastructure? Where is the coaching facility for these kids? Is that what is needed right now in India to, sort of transform the sport?
I think it's a multitude of things that can be and should be done at the same time. One is, which is my professional objective, to bring our sport to India, to make it accessible for everyone, but also to activate it in the country. And then together with our friends from the Bundesliga and from the top clubs and from the professional clubs in Germany, and also technology, we can bring coaching insights, we can bring technology cooperations, we can bring kids to train, like you said, in Austria, in Germany with clubs. We can bring media to the stadium. So there's multiple touch points we should act upon.
What is it that we can take in terms of, you've talked about data analytics. What is it that we can take from Germany when it comes to adopting technology?
Well, I think it's probably like a easily adapted hotbed of technology in India. So we just have maybe the short advantage of how to implement technology in football. But I think India will very, very easily adapt and adopt our technologies and have a leap to an advantage of coaching and of player analytics. So I think the last 20, 25 years where this has been growing in Germany, India can adopt in a few months and really take a leap forward in the development of football.
Now, for every sport, it comes down to having a sporting culture, guys, and that's so. With Germany, it's football is in their culture. In India, it's cricket, like you said. Like we've all seen, IPL is on at the moment, and everybody is watching this Indian Premier League, the biggest cricketing league in the world. But for India to be able to get or to, make football part of the culture, what is it that we can do?
Well, I think one objective is to really showcase the product. I work for the German FA. Our stellar, besides the national teams, our stellar product is the German FA Cup called the DFB Pokal.
Yes.
It is a one-off, one-match, do or die knockout competition, and the small teams draw the big teams, and they play one single leg knockout. So there's so much opportunity for a small club to beat the huge, big Bundesliga star clubs. There's aspiration in it. There's Cinderella stories. And I think if we tell these stories to the people, if we really break down the stories, also show behind the scenes and make the experience of the stadium accessible to the people, I think the passion will jump over and the fans will understand the beauty of the game and especially the beauty of our competition. So I think this could be the vehicle, and around this vehicle where we make the DFB Pokal accessible for everyone for free in India and tell the stories together with our partners, mostly TV9, but also we go through social media and other partners, publishers, we invite sponsors. Everybody should be part of the story for the DFB Pokal to be a household name eventually. And I think this could be the vehicle to really push the football enthusiasm in India.
Often sport is about sporting heroes as well, right? Where are the Messis? Where are the Ronaldos? In India, you have a Sunil Chhetri, you have a Baichung Bhutia, but they're not nearly enough. You need more footballing heroes. How does one get to, finding these footballing heroes if you're not going to have your team win big competitions internationally? And that's where I feel like, is that just as important in terms of the exposure that teams get when they're playing with other international teams, which India lacks at the moment?
Yes, I think first of all you create the enthusiasm for football. Young people will flock to football. And by sheer numbers in India, you will have a solid number of talented players. Now, then the next thing comes in the scouting.
Yeah.
How do you make them visible and organize the training? And then you find the elite of players and you bring them to Austria to train in the Indian Football Center and to bring them to professional German clubs. And that way, ideally, we can find some talent that can play in the third division, in the second, or even in the first division Bundesliga. And that would then accelerate further the growth in India. So I think it's a long game. As I've been told in India, you always have to have the long game in mind. There's no quick wins.
Absolutely.
And we are ready to go the long way.
Let's also talk a little bit about German football's management of their clubs. There's the rule of 50+1 and how impactful that has been.
Yes, it's a big tradition and a cornerstone of German club football that the original club always needs to have the majority ownership and the ultimate control of the sporting vehicle. So foreign investment is only allowed to, let's say, 49%. That has been pretty much also like a religious rule to make sure the football stays with the people. It's not sold out to an anonymous investor from some part of the world, not understanding the culture. So the fan culture and preserving that fan culture is very important. And I think this rule is aimed to preserve that.
Okay, some issues surrounding international football as well, and I want to talk in particular about gender equity, financial equality when it comes to women and men's football as well. How does one close that pay gap? I know that there are some countries who are trying to do it. There's Australia who've tried to do it, but how can we do it so that more and more countries follow suit? And also, you're developing that sport among young girls.
Yes, the women's football is a big strategic push of the German FA. So we are really trying to not aim initially at equal pay, but what we say is equal play. So give them an equal opportunity, equal training conditions, qualified coaching staff, wonderful facilities, and also at the same time grow the media product, increase the production, increase the stadium event character to make the fans grow, to make the game better. Ideally, introduce a minimum wage so the players can really play professionally and don't have to have a side job. So there's many things we're doing at the same time. The national women's team is very successful.
Yes.
We've qualified for the Olympic Games in Paris. We've just now won the 2 first qualification matches for the Women's Euro. So everything's moving in the right direction. We're building up the Women's Bundesliga in partnership with Google Pixel. It's a huge push where we inject capital, where we really trying to make the game grow. And if all these elements come together, it will eventually grow. And also this is a part of the initiative with the Indian Tigresses. Arpita will be sort of the host of the cooperation where we have the Women's Super Cup, which is a newly installed match, one-off match from the Bundesliga champions and the cup winner from the women's football. It's a yearly event, and we want to bring the 20 Indian Tigresses to the German Super Cup.
Wow.
And really integrate on the ground. The young players shall meet their star players. And this way it will be organically as well as influx of capital. And hopefully it will work and we will grow the game.
Yeah, it may be a small step, but an important one in shaping the future of Indian football. Now, you talked a little bit about data analytics. I want you to go in detail as to how far it has gone when it comes to German football. What all because today AI is the buzzword, everyone's talking about it, and you can, through AI, through data analytics, you can predict player injuries, you know exactly what amount of food they need to have, everything is so, sports science, sports medicine, everything has sort of now come under that umbrella as well when it comes to players. Tell us more about how far German football has gone in that regard.
Well, I wish I could tell you a lot of details. I'm not an expert on the data analytics, on AI. All I know is it's huge potential. We will see so many opportunities with AI, with the transparent players, with all the metrics that we have. We have in our new DFB campus, a new headquarter. We have a whole section working, it's called the technology lab. All kinds of interactive, enhanced reality. Everything is measured 24/7. Having said that, there's 2 trains of thoughts in Germany. The new generation says, let's go full force on the technology.
Yeah.
The old generation says, it's all about the football. It's what happens on the pitch. It's how the coach motivates, how fast you can run. And our job is to bring these two trains of thoughts together. And I think that's the challenge in the next years. But like I said in the beginning, it's huge potential to grow the game even further.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, but it's always that way, right? You have two thoughts always colliding, the old thought of, you know, you make your strategy as you get into the game on that day, how the other team is playing and not what the computer has decided for you. Okay, now the Indian football team, the men's team, they had a good, successful 2023. They won 3 trophies. They were doing well, but this year they lost to a lower ranked team like Afghanistan. Germany has been in a pretty similar situation in that sense in recent times, but we'll right now focus on the Indian team. If I were to tell you, from all your experience of being associated with German football, 3 steps, you know, the first 3 steps that India needs to take in getting better, in improving their ranking, in just being able to, you know, make the cut among the Asian teams. You know, let's start small. What would those 3 steps be?
Well, I think the first step is the grassroots. Where are the players of tomorrow? And like I said before, you need to grow interest and you need the scouting. And then, you know, really make sure you identify the players who have potential, men and women, to make the first team. And then it's the training methods and facilities, which are hugely important. Obviously, the best coaches you can get. And then it's just believe in it and pull through. Like you said, German national team had a dry spell. Since 2014, we had lots of unsuccessful tournaments. And suddenly it came all together this March, last month. Finally, Julian Nagelsmann, our new head coach, he found the magic potion of bringing the right players who had success in their clubs, where the momentum was right, namely Leverkusen and Stuttgart. Also put some core players like Bayern Munich, Musiala, that you absolutely need. And then form a team around it. So the human element, not to dismiss data, but the human element is so important. And if these three things come together, you really have the magic potion. And you know, you have to believe in that.
Which is the other thing as well. I feel like not only do you have to, you know, nurture players at the grassroots level, but also where are your coaches? You know, coaches being specifically trained for women, for girls, you know, because of the uniqueness that is required in their game. How much of importance should be given to that as well? If you don't have good coaches, you're not going to get good players.
You're 100% right. The coaching of coaches, or the education of coaches, is a super important element, because they form the players of the future. Not only from the skill on the field, also understanding all the metrics on the data analysis, but also the character building. These are very, very young people, and they need to finish school at the same time, and they need a shoulder to lean on. And yes, they need discipline, and they need training on the job, how to excel at football. And all of these things are very important. So Germany has been very successful in building the youth academies. There's a standard that each club has to fulfill in terms of numbers of coaches in different functions, numbers of physios, doctors, etc. And all of this is mandatory in order to be able to get a license to play in the Bundesliga, in the second Bundesliga, in the third division. So there's, like I said, you can't stress enough the importance of coaching. Hence, you know, we are offering to help India educate their coaches, because anything they can learn from us, where we can bring them up to speed quicker, they can then put out to the football community, to the clubs and to the regions.
Okay. How long before an Indian can play in the Bundesliga?
If we start now, which we intend to do, maybe 5 or 6 years. Maybe second Bundesliga should be the first goal, but I think that if there's a breakthrough, 5 or 6 years could be possible.
Okay, now you were like a true German fan, very positive about the German team, but it
Yes.
hasn't been all smooth sailing.
Yes.
Let's face it.
Yes.
It's been less than ideal, the preparation for the Euro. But are you still putting Germany as one of the favorites there?
After the March games, yes.
The friendlies against
Yes.
France and
Holland.
Holland, yeah.
And not only the results, because
Yeah.
we won both games, it's the style of play and how the team came together. And it's just this excitement, and you could feel it at the stadium. They were cheering for potentially insignificant moments. There was the Spanish wave going through the stadium. So yes, since these 2 games, I believe in Germany, they have a serious shot at the title of the Euro 24.
Okay, that's speaking as a senior head of media operations, German Football Association. But
I'm afraid I'm a little biased.
yeah,
Yes.
but who are the toughest competitors this Euro?
I think France is super tough, as anyone would say.
Yeah.
And Italy is tough, England is tough. But there's no small teams. Rudi Völler used to say, a coach back in the 2000s. Now he's our sporting director for the national team. There's no small teams, and it holds true now even more than it did 20 years ago. So, you know, in the Qatar World Cup, we stumbled over Japan.
Oh yes.
And we
Drew a lot
stumbled.
of flag for it.
We struggled. Well, we won, but we struggled against Costa Rica. So you have to be really careful.
Yeah.
And first we make the group, and then we play ourselves into this wave, this unstoppable avalanche, and hopefully
Okay.
we'll go very far. But I think besides the outcome of the tournament, for us, the style of play, that we are really playing for the fans, where we act as a team, and also the host. We are the host of this fantastic tournament.
Yeah.
We're hosting it in Germany. So
Yeah.
we want to be,
The
you know,
12th man.
put our best face on as a, you know, receiving the guests, but also supporting, of course, our team, but also the other teams. So I think we demonstrated that back in 2006 at the World Cup. We are a fantastic host.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing that's very interesting these days is the rise of esports, virtual gaming, virtual football games. How do you see that relationship evolving between, you know, virtual gaming versus real football?
Myself personally, I'm not a big follower.
Okay.
But of course, it's part of the job we do at the German FA. We have the E-Cup, E-Pokal, and we organize it and we make sure, and we monitor it closely, and we put it out on Twitch, and we have a cooperation with German broadcasters on it. Maybe it's my age, but I have different thoughts on esports. However, I prefer the simulation sport, like the football, over the ego shooters and the other games. But I would hesitate to call it a proper sport, but there's people thinking otherwise. So we do have it in our portfolio, and we encourage it.
Yeah, and there are a lot of young, I mean, we're talking about the future, and I feel like a lot of youngsters have taken to FIFA and other games which they really, I mean, if they get a chance, then they want to play that.
Yeah, but if it helps to bring people from the PC screen onto the grass, I'm all for it. As a separate category, I'm on the fence.
Okay, the other thing is we've already spoken about women's game. You've spoken about what Germany has done. Specifically, a couple of things. You spoke about grassroots programs, right? What is it that Germany has done in that youth development plan, you know, from the beginning till you end up getting to the professional league, that stands out? You know what I'm saying is that for a young kid, when he starts playing football, and if he's good, he has the potential, what does he do on his way to getting into a professional league?
Well, I'd love to make it sound like a magnificent master plan, but it is really in the culture. We have 24,000 clubs in Germany. We have 7 million members playing active football in Germany. So it's in the DNA, it's in the culture that you go to your local club, and if your kid is any good, it goes forward. And then if it's really good, it gets scouted. You have scouts sitting and watching it, 8, 9, 10-year-old players, already pre-scouting them for the clubs. And then they suck them into the academies and they build them out further. So I think we have done a lot of things right, but not necessarily has it all been planned and mapped out. It's just this wonderful culture of football, of love and passion for the football that we have. And then, like I said before, in the 2000s, we really institutionalized it. We brought about the youth academies and formalized how this could work perfectly, also for players who don't make it, which is very important. 90–95% will never become a professional athlete. How do they not fall through the system? How do they land on their feet with a good education and with other potentials they can pursue? So it's not only like a rat race, everything goes to try and make it and then you fall off. It's the responsibility for the entire youth. And if we can share our insights and share some of those learnings with other cultures, with other countries, we would be more than happy to do that.
Is that what they say, the dual career system, where in case you don't end up making it as a professional footballer, then there are other avenues, other opportunities for you?
Yes. So first of all, we make sure they all get a school education.
Yeah.
There's no way of just dropping school, and that's part of the youth academy system, to make sure they are responsible, reasonable, well-educated adults. Even if they become a professional player or if not. So I think that's the ground responsibility. But then those who are good enough to make the elite, that they get every promotion and every support that we can provide.
Okay, just a couple of more questions before we wrap this conversation up. Kai, you must have seen that press conference where Vinicius Jr. was crying for racism. And that is one thing that I feel like leagues around the world haven't been able to really tackle well enough. What is it that can be done? Someone who's part of German football, to just stop racism and discrimination. How can we be more inclusive?
Yes, a very disturbing footage of such a star player, what he has to endure. And I say, luckily, we don't have such a huge problem in Germany with this race issue. We've had our share of racism in the past, in the dark past. So I think there's still a sensitivity of openness, of tolerance, and all the people of color who play football are usually very, very good. So they help to break through any potential racism even. But I'm not denying there are some clubs in some parts of the fan culture where that persists. We just have to make sure, and all the clubs are aligned, the German FA is aligned, and also the players are very vocal about it. There's no tolerating that, and everybody has to stand up, and there's harsh punishments, and goes banning from the stadium, or even like persecution. So I think we're doing a lot. We're educating. We're doing social spots, social media, all kinds of campaigns. And will we root it out entirely? Probably not. But we should be aware and on our toes every moment of the day.
Absolutely. Last question then. Bayern Leverkusen. They're always being teased for being called as Neverkusen. They're Bayern Leverkusen, who have had an incredible run. How impressed are you by how they've been unbeatable in the league?
Yeah, over 40 games, I think, in a row, unbeaten.
The longest, I think, in the history of any league.
It's a phenomenon. We're all in love with Leverkusen, which is a not so much followed club until this season, I would think. But then the coach and the players and Xabi, how he brings it all together. I think we're all in love. Everyone's a Leverkusen fan, and they will win the league, and they will very likely win the cup. And it will just be a phenomenal triumph, and it's well deserved. Okay, Kai Damhorst, thank you so much, sir, for joining us here, for coming to India, for being part of this campaign, of finding talent in the country. And I can tell you, there's a lot of kids out there who would love to be part of that training
in Austria and Germany, and you'll find a lot of talent here in India as well. But thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for having me, and let's make it happen.
Hopefully we will. That's it then on this special. Hope you enjoyed it. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.